Hi everyone and welcome to the Women in ERP podcast, episode 2. My name is Abigail Ullman and I'm joined today by
Paul
and Em Loves, our social media guru. So I guess let's start today with a little recap from last week. So how's your week been, Steph?
It's been manic. I don't know about anyone else, but it has been an absolute back-to-back. Considering it's half term in a lot of places, it has just been relentless. What about yourself?
Yeah, the same. Really. I was saying to somebody I was speaking to a moment ago, I feel like I'm wading through water, so I'm not getting anywhere fast.
I completely relate to that. Completely.
Yeah, but it's been very varied. And how about you, Em?
I've not got half term till next week, so I'm all good till Monday hits.
Yeah, me too. I'm taking the week off. I'm not even going to try it next week.
Yeah, I'm off next week as well. Well, we're all off. Maybe next week's going to be just a good week for everyone. But does that mean everywhere's going to be busy?
Yeah. Just don't go out. You'll be fine. Since the last podcast, what's the feedback been like, Steph? What have you heard from your friends?
I've had amazing feedback. We've been so well supported. Colleagues, friends, people that I never knew. Like the network is phenomenal, and yeah, I think it's been great. And I think there's obviously a market that we're speaking to women and men, about relevant topics. And it's been really good. What about yourself? What have you heard?
Great. I mean, I've been quite shocked actually at the number of men that are listening to us. So this is great because we're not just for women. We are women, but I hope everybody listens and learns and engages.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we've said before about having guests on, but that's not just female guests. We're very much open to having some men on as well. So I agree. It's been a real diverse kind of mix.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And how was your Valentine's Day?
So very nondescript. I think all I did was work. Very depressing. What about you?
It was nice. We did the breakfast thing, but then the kids messed about and played up till like midnight. So that was it for us.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
True love.
Yeah, our children interfered with Valentine's Day, and our autistic child decided to have a massive meltdown because it wasn't Christmas and Santa Claus didn't come.
Oh,
I mean, that's always disappointing. Let's be honest.
It's so disappointing. She thought it was Christmas rerun.
Oh, well, there's nothing to stop having Christmas in the middle of the year. We did that last year actually, where obviously we were locked down the year before, so we had Christmas on the 25th of June as a family.
I know,
which is really weird because it was literally the hottest day of last year, I think, and it was just very strange having a big roast turkey.
Yeah, like an Australian Christmas.
In like 30-degree heat. It's hilarious, but yeah,
nice,
all good fun.
Yeah. So let's get into it then. So we've noticed that many of our listeners are independent ERP consultants and entrepreneurs. Many of you are also really career focused individuals who want to lift your profile and become the go-to person in your field. So today we're talking about professional elevation. So I'd like to welcome our special guest today, Em Loves. That is her real name, we've just confirmed.
Welcome to the gang.
Yeah. Em is a network marketing entrepreneur, personal coach and specialist in sort of self-empowerment. So Em, tell us about you. Who are you?
Thank you for the lovely introduction, Abigail. I really do appreciate it. That's fabulous. So my name is Em Loves, and I'm a mum, first of all, of 3 beautiful children, all under the age of 10. My middle one has got special needs as well. She's autistic. And I needed a career path that would fit around my children. So I'm actually a qualified secondary school teacher in history and controversial issues. And I did have to leave teaching for medical reasons. So I retired at the grand age of 26 from teaching, believe it or not. And I'm actually in training in ministry with the North Anglican Church at the moment as well, which is fabulous. So do a lot with that. And I just generally love doing network marketing, networking with people, meeting new people, and helping people elevate who they are and finding their self-confidence.
Yeah, brilliant. So it's not specifically technology that you work in. However, the skills that you can pass on to us today are hopefully transferable skills. I believe they are. So we've got some interesting topics to discuss. So one of the things you mentioned to me when we initially had a conversation was your empowered story. So I can't remember what you called it now. Go on, go ahead.
So from broken to empowered is part of my story. I mean, I'm happy to give you a little snippet, clip it, if you like, of that story.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Definitely. Yeah.
So obviously I did leave teaching for medical reasons, and I found myself really struggling with the world. And I had a reoccurrence of an eating disorder that I've been battling from when I was 14. And when my youngest was born, it spiraled out of control massively. And within 6 months of breastfeeding and just being a mum, I wasn't doing anything really. I was working for the church, but I felt that I'd lost my identity with being a mum, and my self-confidence plummeted. I was finding it very difficult to even go to mum and toddler groups,
I've been there,
to do anything. I wasn't depressed, I wasn't anxious, there was nothing wrong. We were the happiest we'd ever been. You know, we'd got these 3 children, my husband was in a good job, and in my head everything was like, well, I should be okay with everything, but I needed to get some kind of control. And like I say, the eating disorder totally spiraled out of control, and it began to consume me totally and utterly. And my husband rang me up one morning, so we're in March time, 4 years ago, and my youngest was 6 months old, and I was back down to about 7.5 stone, and still trying to breastfeed whilst being quite weight as well. And I was just absolutely exhausted, and he rang me up and he was in tears, and he had lost his job with immediate effect. So his pay was going to stop as of that Friday. And I went into church the next day to renew my contract after my maternity leave, to find that I'd also been made redundant with immediate
Oh my God.
Wow.
and my last pay was going to be on the Friday. And so all of a sudden our world's turned upside down. We'd got no savings either, because we'd just gone, well, we're all secure, we're all settled, let's have a bit of a blowout. So we'd just booked a holiday to Spain and paid for all of that. And we'd bought brand new furniture for the kids and this big, massive triple bunk bed. And we'd bought a new car because it was like, well, everything's secure. So we'd emptied everything, we'd got nothing. Absolutely nothing. And we knew that we were faced with going to use the food bank the next week. So from being really happy and secure and in good jobs, we'd got nothing. And so my eating disorder, like I say, was really rife at the time, and I was actually quite delicate, I guess, and almost facing hospitalisation again for the eating disorder, and having to have 3 months, 6 months away from my children to go and sort out my eating. And in desperation, I started doing a distribution business where you drop off catalogues door to door and collect orders and process them through, because I wanted the foundation and I couldn't afford it, but I wanted something to cover my face because I felt so rubbish, and I wanted to put food on the table for the children without having to go to the food bank. So I started in desperation. I was in desperation mode. And I found to start off with that it gave me the permission to eat, because I was funding that food and I was working hard for it, and I was exercising because I was traipsing around all the villages, dropping off my little catalogues and knocking on doors and all that jazz. And then as I started to then progress in my journey, and I started finding myself building a team and gaining this confidence and starting to gain an identity and a brand on social media that was my brand, I turned around 2 years later to find that I'd been on such a huge transformational journey where I'd not only empowered myself, I'd empowered my family, and I was empowering my team. And that's where my passion comes from, because I believe that if you take hold of something and you grow it and nurture it yourself and work on a personal brand, actually you can do whatever you want to do. So I mean, as you can see today, I'm certainly not 7.5 stone anymore. And it really is that journey of empowerment and it being a transformational journey. So no matter what your results are, it's not result driven, it's transformational driven.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's amazing. But I guess there was times along the way that where though you thought, can I do this? Can't I do this? And you know, I think there's probably a lot of women that probably relate to similar different stories, but kind of that challenge of what am I going to do next? And then thinking, you obviously had a great vision and you assessed by the sounds of it everything, values, everything. But I guess, can you talk us about, the times where you thought, can I do this? Can't I do this kind of thing?
There have been many times where I've wanted to quit what I'm doing. Many times when I've put in hours of work and just not felt like I've got results through from that work. And it has been challenging. And I always say to the ladies that are in my leadership team now that I've grown under the Bespoke Leadership Programme, is like I tell all of them, you can actually tell me 3 times that you're going to quit. And the first 2 times I will support you and we'll look at strategies, simple strategies to help build you back up again. And the 3rd time I'll show you the door and help you find something that fits you better.
See, that's brilliant. Why don't all organisations have that? Because I probably would have changed my mind a few times.
Absolutely.
We do it as women because we have so many pressures as women in particular, that we're expected to have so many hats, that we need to juggle everything. We need to juggle the children, we need to juggle when they're off sick, we need to juggle their special needs, and then we need to look beautiful, and we need to do our hair, and we need to go and get our roots done, and then we've got to go and have facials and put our makeup on. I don't see many men curling their hair at 6:30 in the morning whilst trying to put their mascara on and put on a pair of pants of a little girl, as they're running past screaming.
Yeah. I mean, some men do.
Men do, but generally, stereotypically, it's us ladies that are doing all of that, and it's just there's a lot more pressures, external pressures, I think, on women to be the one who does
perfect.
The perfect. I don't think Mrs. Hinch has helped. I do like Mrs. Hinch.
I agree.
She's added to the pressure of adding that sparkle everywhere, hasn't she? In some respects.
Totally. And it's that having it all, isn't it? Like, we all want it all, but no one can truly have it all. And do we all want it? Do you know what I mean? That it's that vicious cycle of I completely relate to the pressures and kind of, well, this is kind of what society tells me I should be, but who actually am I? And kind of, it's quite, like you say, it's that transformational journey. And I completely admire it's amazing that you've kind of been from one end to the other, if that makes sense. I guess it's going to give a lot of our listeners a lot of inspiration as well.
Yeah.
There's always a route out, whatever those mental health issues are or pressure is. There's always a route out, but the route involves getting on your feet. And I think that's the main point in the story. I got on my feet to build up my business, and it built up myself because I took the action.
And you've carried on with it, I guess. You've persisted as well, because business isn't just a straightforward, here we're going now. It's up and down. So how have you dealt with those repeating down points that you will have had whilst building a business? How have you stopped yourself sinking right to the bottom again?
with the whole roller coaster. You know what? There's nothing wrong, ladies, with turning the air blue occasionally when you need to. When things aren't going your way, just go and find a cupboard space, go in the shower. I mean, my favorite crying point is the shower, and there's nothing better than a good cry on your own with nobody trying to fix it, nobody interfering, nobody telling you shouldn't be feeling that way, but just going, you know what? I'm just going to go and lock the door. I'm going to go for a shower, and I'm just going to go and let it all go.
Yeah,
I'm just having
couldn't agree more.
Good
Could not agree more.
So
I love a cry.
Always feel so much better, but only if I've gone and done it in the shower on my own. I'm very particular with the way that I let it all out. So, but there's definitely nothing wrong with turning the air blue. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that you want to quit, because sometimes we all feel like we want to quit, and normally that's a warning sign that you just need to take a step back and have a bit of self-love and a bit of you time. So one of the things that I did fairly recently, things were getting on top of me, not necessarily with business, it was actually with the family, with the autism and everything else. And I was having a fight with school. So anybody who's a special needs parent will know about the process of statementing and neurodevelopment science teams and trying to get diagnoses for it. It's very overwhelming. And I actually just went away and I spent 2 days on my own, away from the family, away from everything else, and just totally recharged, because I was starting to feel that self-destruct. I want to quit on everything, and it wasn't a stress from the business, it was a family stress, and I just needed to take that step back, and I think that's often something that we don't let ourselves do.
Yeah, I'm
amazing
terrible
you've
for
got
that.
Yeah, but it's having that self-awareness, and you obviously knew what you needed. And I think it's quite hard sometimes to tune into that, in terms of, like you say, you've got pressures from everything, and just having that time to sit and go, what is it? How do I need to almost mother myself to get out the other side? Because I think, like you say, when you want to quit, that's generally where the growth is. And yeah, it's so important to do.
It's always where the growth is, and sometimes you notice that point of reflecting and having that kairos moment, which is where it's like you can see what, if you reflect properly, you can see what changes need to be brought in, and more often than not the change is something within. So whether it's that you need to smile more, whether you need to go for a walk at lunchtime, whether you need to actually plan a little mini break with your friends or just on your own, there's nothing more healing than going away on your own for just an overnight. Just sort of like say to the husband or say to your mum, can you have the kids overnight? I just need to go and just be me, not go on a date and curl my hair and have this fantastic time with my husband where we're reconnecting and there's all that pressure, but actually to just say, you know what, I just need a night where I can just let it all go. And if I want to sit there in jogging pants with pot noodle stains down my top in a hotel room, watching Love Actually for the 50th time, I can do.
Yeah, so I struggle with that, because I think I would feel really guilty if I did that, because we don't have, I guess, the childcare that we should have. So me going away is sort of leaving him to deal with it. I want to go away with him, rather than just me go and eat pot noodles. So yeah, I think that would make me personally feel quite guilty to do that. Is that something that
you've got to get over the mum guilt first? Because it stopped me for a long time. And what I actually did when I went away in February this year, no, not February, January, sorry, is that I waited till my husband was away. So like you, Abigail, my husband works away from home, so I'm actually a single parent 60% of the week. And so I actually asked a friend if she wouldn't mind just for one night during a school week, come and watch the kids for me and just leave in my bed overnight, take them to school in the morning. And she loved it.
Brilliant. Good friend.
I also think it's a good point in terms of everyone's different, and it's what works for you, in terms of, like you say, Abigail, you would want to, for you that would be going away with your husband and kind of doing that. For me, I'm very much someone that I need my own space 100%. I need to just sit with no one. Like I'll turn my phone off as well, because that to me is my biggest distraction in terms of ping. It's yeah, I think it's interesting, but I think that, I guess the lesson is knowing what works for you and having that awareness first is a step one.
Definitely.
That's probably the key point. Yeah.
So professionally, what do you do for your clients? What do you offer? So if for instance me and Steph employed you to work with us, what could we expect from that experience?
Could have a field day.
Yeah, I know you would.
So there's different steps, there's different levels and different programs for different people, because everybody's individual, everybody's in different style businesses. So the first thing that I offer is every Friday at noon, I have a pause for breath moment where we reflect on a topic each week, which links in with my weekly podcast as well. So we review it together and we reflect on it together. And it's all about getting in the right mindset for the weekend, letting go of some of the leadership pressures, but also learning leadership and social media skills. I run a 90-day bespoke leadership program for anybody looking to come into leadership, where I review all your social media. We go through it with a fine-tooth comb. We look at what can be done to improve, what can be done to make you more visible and to help you with your personal branding and any leadership challenges that you have. And that runs for 90 days. And it's all based on tracking systems and stuff like that. So you're tracking your progress. So at the end of the 90 days, you should see that there's been some personal development and an increase in visibility and confidence. So there's that one-to-one program there. And then I also offer a team support, which runs for 6 months, where I come in and I do training with your team specifically on social media. So we look at everything from how to set up your bio, how to use Canva, how to stand out from the crowd, how to do your personal branding. So although in a team you're all in the same company, how to have your own personal branding whilst being in that company so that people are attracted to you, and how to just connect with people and grow a following. So we do that over the 6 months as well. And then people can just follow me and pick up my top tips if they want to anyway.
Brilliant. So
amazing.
Today, could you offer our listeners and viewers some simple strategies to elevate their online presence?
Definitely. So I'm all for the simple strategies. So the first one is knowing your niche. And a niche isn't a single thing on its own. It's looking at the 3 things that really build who you are as a person. So if you go on any of my main social media, so not LinkedIn, because LinkedIn's very professional. LinkedIn's very much business orientated. But on all my other social media platforms, I look at the 3 things that make up me, and all of my posts relate to those 3 things. So you will find a lot of posts on my social media about being a parent of 3 children. You will find a lot of posts about me being a network marketer and loving network marketing and coaching. And then you will find posts about being a Christian as well. So my faith journey and my blogging that I do with my faith journey as well. So those 3 things are very consistent all the way through, and they're very positive powered as well. So you won't find any arguments with the neighbours or any drying out my laundry on social media or on Facebook. No phishing posts, those ones that say, I'm so angry with the world today.
Yeah, okay, hon.
And then people commenting,
Look
oh,
at me.
yeah, what's up, hon? PM me, darling.
Victims.
What's up? Oh my day, they drive me insane. So it looks at the attraction marketing rather than the attention seeking behaviors by using those 3 niches. And it means that you're more focused with what you're putting on your platforms as well. So you know, right, okay, yesterday I posted about network marketing. So today I'm going to make sure that even if it's, you know, I'm going to find an opportunity to go and take a selfie with the kids. So that might be actually, I'm going to take time out to go and play a game with the children, or to take the children to the beach. So I can use it on my social media, and it's actually going to enrich my family journey as well, because I've taken that time to do it. So that's the first thing.
Do you plan out kind of what you're thinking? Kind of, is it a day by day thing that you think about, or are you thinking like weeks in advance, months in advance? Just, I guess
I try and go by theme weeks.
Okay.
So particularly on LinkedIn, I have a theme. So I'll have an overall theme for a month, and then I break that down into a weekly theme, so that it doesn't get too repetitive. And then you've got your daily things anyway. So you've got things like Monday motivation. So the first step is to go through your days of the week and generate your own mind hashtags. So rather than actually physically using hashtags, generate your own mind hashtags of what happens on each day. So it's almost a little bit spectrum behavior, but like Monday is like Monday motivation. Tuesday might be testimonial Tuesday. Wednesday wisdom. Thursday thankful Thursdays. Follow Fridays, social Saturdays, pamper Sundays, or slow down Sundays. So you've got those hashtags in your mind already. So on a Monday, you're thinking, how can I motivate people today? How can I show people that I'm motivated? But more, what can I do to give somebody motivation? So what sort of post is going to help that? What have I done that might give somebody some motivation? So I might have done something on Friday and thought, you know what, that's really motivational. I'm going to take a selfie of that, or take a picture of the situation, and I'm going to save it for Monday, and I'm going to use it on Monday for that post. And I'm going to do that across all my different social media platforms, and just change the wording for the audience that follows me, because you're going to have different audiences on each social media platform. So it's knowing who your audience is.
I was going to ask about that in terms of the differences.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
LinkedIn audience is incredible. My LinkedIn audience is as far different to my TikTok audience as can be. So the things that I put on LinkedIn is very, very, very professional. You know, I behave on LinkedIn as much as I feel that I can get away with behaving. I don't like behaving very much. So, you know, I say behave in a very loose fashion. Whereas on TikTok, I'll be doing ridiculous things on TikTok.
Are you dancing? You've got to have a TikTok dance, haven't you?
I'm gonna have to find you now.
No, I don't do TikTok dancing. So I actually use crutches to walk. So I don't do TikTok dancing at all, I'm afraid.
And in terms of like content and things, do you struggle? I think for me, like doing it daily in terms of social media, I would struggle with what to put on what platform when, and just having enough material and I guess time to think about it. Is that, I guess that's something that comes naturally for you, but do you have any advice on that if people wanted to increase
if people
their
want
engagement?
to increase and they're wanting to increase their engagement, everything else, what you've got to remember is that content is king, but engagement is queen. So you're looking at ways of trying to get people to engage with you, and like doing those questions in the comment boxes, and actually really relationship building in those comment boxes, and thinking how your post can generate questions as well, that are attraction marketing questions towards who you are. We're always looking, doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter whether you're a politician, a gardener, or a cleaner, we all need relationships to build our business. So even if you're a cleaner, you're going to be working on recommendations most of the time, so you need to build up that relationship with your clients. And that's something you can be doing on social media as well, is building up relationships with future clients, current clients, past clients. And by having those daily hashtags, maybe even sitting down going, what is my theme this month? What is my theme this week? So this month on LinkedIn, my theme is love, because it's Valentine's Day this month. Yeah. So that's been broken down into a weekly topic around love and what I can talk about. And then generally, so if my coach is listening to this, she's going to go mad, because she's all for planning, right? She's a very forward thinker. She's very planning. Whereas I get up on a morning and go, right, okay, this is my theme. This is what I need to post on. Right, let's get Canva. How can we get creative and have some fun with this? And so I actually don't generate my posts until the morning, because I'm very mood led and I'm very emotion led as well. So I do like to do kind of like last minute kind of stuff. I think it gets the fun involved as well. So I mean, particularly with your stories on Facebook, you can't plan your stories. You can't plan the story of your day. But what you can do is you can look for opportunities, and you can create opportunities as well, to generate your stories and generate your content, and then go, you know what, I love that. I would like to build on that. I really enjoyed doing that. I'd like to build on that. So my LinkedIn goes on that theme, but my Facebook group for my customers in my network marketing business is very planned, but it's planned around the hashtag days.
So on a professional level, for those of us that have to keep our tone to that of our organizations, you know, if we work for a big vendor, for instance, and part of their brand package when you join a company is to, you know, you have to have these colors on your LinkedIn. You have to keep a sort of certain tone that represents the organization you work for. So what can we do to stand apart when we have to all be kind of uniform?
Right. Okay. So this is a way of using your language. So thinking about what language you are going to use. So I don't mean like whether you're going to use English or whether you're going to use French, but how are you going to speak to people and come across? Another way is through consistency of posts. So leaning on that branding, but seeing where you can add your own little, I mean, it all depends on the company, how much of your own little sparkle you can add onto it. But create a bit of personality around the branding, utilizing their colors, their fonts, their themes. As long as you're staying within the remit of the company, push the boundaries as much as you can to really stand out as a leader, because there's not many leaders in business who have always towed the line 110%. The leaders in business are the people who have pushed the boundaries, just that little bit to peek over them. And it's only a peek, you only need to do the peek, but it's about that consistency to keep showing up on a day-to-day basis and telling your story within the brand, not everybody else's story, your story. People want to get to know who you are, what your values are. Sometimes it can really help not to do a vision board when you're in these kind of, you know, companies where you've got the branding and everything, but actually to sit down and say, right, if I owned this company, if I was the CEO of Microsoft, if I was the CEO of IBM, what would my vision statement be and what would my mission statement be? So the mission is how you want that company to help and support other people. So what service do you want to provide for them? And the vision being where you want to see it in 5 years' time. And then off the back of that, write your 8 values. These are my values. This is what's important to me as a person. So like one of mine is vibrancy. I hold value on vibrancy, on passion, on loyalty, on integrity. So these are all my different values, and they come across in the way that I post and the way that I use language to communicate with people as well. So do that, sit down and plan. What can you do to push it just that little bit? But you can't just do it willy-nilly. It does need to be with that mission, vision and values put together, and sit down and think, how can I use these colours? Get on Canva, have the 1 month pro version, have a little play, go and take some selfies of yourself doing ridiculous things. I've got one of my favorite selfies is me hanging upside down from the bed, right? I had to get my husband to hold my ankles so I didn't hurt my head, and I took a selfie of me hanging upside down, removed the background off it, and it's been on all sorts of really ridiculous photos where it's had me jumping out of an aeroplane, it's had me hanging off a tree in a rainforest, all these different things. Go have fun with yourself, and if your confidence is really low,
this is the thing, isn't it? It's like, how do we build that confidence up to be able to do these things? And especially if you put a post on LinkedIn and then it doesn't get any response, and you're just a bit like, why have I done that?
Right.
It's being authentic, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's it. It's being true to yourself, like you say, your values, just everything. It's towing the line, but having your own voice, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, yes, and it's having fun. So go and find a cartoon app, right? There's loads of really good, I've got a cartoon app on my phone. And so I can put all my selfies. So I put them in Canva, remove the background, stick them in the cartoon app, have fun with it and change it all around. So I look really funky. And that's really great on days where I need to do my roots, or I've got like a PMT, you know, the spot that you wake up and it's always on like on your face and it feels like a second head. Nobody else can feel it, but you know it's there. And so your self-confidence has plummeted, or you've put, you know, anything can affect that self-confidence. So put it through a cartoon image and have fun with yourself, and it will start to really build you up. If your LinkedIn in particular is suffering from tumbleweed, find 2 or 3 friends on LinkedIn who are having the same issue and make commitment to each other that every morning you're going to drop your links to each other for your post, and you're going to go and boost each other's posts with a positive comment. So once you start getting those 3 or 4 comments on within an hour of you posting, then other people are going to start seeing it. As other people start seeing it, you can then look on your LinkedIn, see who's been viewing your profile, and then you can go and drop them a personalized connect message. So like, hey Mary, noticed you looked at my profile, thought it'd be awesome to connect, hope that's cool with you, how's things? So you can start expanding your network through doing a little bit of collaboration, and then you're not relying on those 4 for longer than a few weeks, and you'll find that your LinkedIn starts to build, people start to share what you're doing, especially if you're being consistent. If you're only on there once every 2 weeks, then you're not going to get the engagement. It needs to be every day, following your personal brand, your values, your vision and your mission alongside your company's.
So consistency, build your own little wolf pack, and play around with it a bit, I guess, to find your
beat the algorithms.
Yeah.
choose some vibrant colours to add onto it, or think of some vibrant tagline. So my tagline this week is passion powered people prevail, and it's something that's stuck in people's heads, and it's just a little 4-word tagline, and it's been on every single post this week. Passion powered people prevail. Think of your hashtag.
Tongue twister.
It is. The amount of times I've fluffed it. I think I had to have several retakes of my podcast the other night because I kept getting it totally fluffed up.
We wouldn't know anything about that, would we, Abby?
No. Thank you very much. We found that really useful, actually, and hopefully we can apply some of those hints and tips in practice.
Totally. Food for thought. Definitely.
Yes.
I'm going to go away and think and look at my social media now and go, well, yeah, just have a relook at it differently. How can I rebrand myself, essentially?
So I guess if we get onto our ERP topic for the day, this will be probably not of interest to you. It might be, let's see.
We can think of some hashtags by the end that we can, maybe we can inspire.
This is it. So with regards to ERP, one of the future predictions or predictions for this year with ERP is around offering a more tailored or personalised service. Have you got any thoughts around this, Steph?
It's absolutely the way we, across all vendors, are going. No one wants a bespoke, highly modded system that they can't easily update, put in the cloud. It just restrains everyone. It's absolutely going to be out of the box, but
so what does this mean in terms of what is a personalized ERP or a personalized service with ERP? Is it ready-made out of the box? How much mod is going to be required from an insider's perspective?
So what I would expect is that there's generally industry processes, industry best practices, and certainly I'd expect anyone implementing the vendor I work for to be challenging a business that wanted to bend that out of shape. Why does that not work for you? Why is your business different to every other business in the industry? And there's always going to be an element of, we take configuration out of it. There's always going to be things that are configured slightly different for a business, but the general kind of heart and lungs type processes should be the same across the board. Even down to regulation, it's the same industry. It should have the same processes. So to completely want to change the code and do it in a unique way is, I would challenge why, unless you think there's a serious competitive advantage, it's only going to cost you more money and time in the long run. So I would strongly discourage it.
So are we going to find in the future we've got things like ERP for, automotive, or ERP for, I want to say manufacturer, but I mean more sort of low
process discrete. It will go down to sort of, like you say, automotive, life sciences, everything is going to be broken down, and you're already seeing that as a trend. It's just absolutely, it's already there for the headline industries. I think we're going to start getting more into the sub industries, and then probably another level down in that vertical as well.
And it's just going to keep going until it's there for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to have, I think what you'll find is that vendors become specialized in different areas rather than trying to be a jack of all trades. You're going to have certain industries and verticals that are, the best in breed for a set industry, if that makes sense. Your go-to type one.
Do you see it being so a full solution? So you've got all your ancillary technologies built into that, tailored in the same manner, or do you think there will still be a market for things like BI and labeling software, that kind of thing, or will it all be built into one?
No, yes, everything will come into one within reason. I think there's always going to be specialist areas where you're always going to have like a plugin. There's REST APIs everywhere these days, so that makes integration so much easier. And I think it would be wrong to think that a vendor is going to want to cover everything. If you're an ERP vendor, do you really want to be doing payroll, which is if you're that global type business, you don't really want to be trying to do local country different payroll, for instance. You'd want a specialist that is, the best of that is their business. We're not, you have to tread the line within reason. Obviously there's a massive advantage to having everything embedded into one solution. But I think there are, definitely specific areas where that won't happen.
It's interesting. So what does this mean then for the consultancy market? I mean, one arm of my business is particularly around consultancy within ERP. So do you see that just dying out completely, or do you think there's always going to be a need for consultants?
There's always going to be a need for consultants. We need more, not less.
Just hit me up.
yeah, I was going to say, you definitely can help everyone, but it's that's definitely a misconception. If there's any kind of notion that it's just, we say out of the box, it still needs configuring for your business. It's not, it just, I guess, gives you an accelerator to start with, is probably the best way to describe it, as opposed to, it's not a case of download, your CD-ROM days where you put it in and downloading it. It's not that. And it never will be. We're always going to have a level of configuration. But it's the customization. In terms of changing the actual code, which will be shut down, I should imagine soon.
So it's ultimately it's going to be viewed as the base for digital transformation within each sector that it's placed in, and on that you're then going to use IoT to build in those additional aspects, I guess, tailored to your industry. It's the kind of niche parts which won't be part of a single solution, if that makes sense. You're always going to have add-ons. You're never going to move away from that. The difference nowadays is that it's just so easy, so much easier. I wouldn't say it's totally easy. It's easier than it ever used to be in terms of having to build a mod just to do that integration. I don't know, what are your thoughts, Abby, in terms of it all? I think there's always going to be a need for bespoke, but I'm biased, and I want our consultants to be out working forever.
But they still will be.
So I think that you sort of can't make a one size fits all. I don't believe that's possible. So there's always going to be a need for modifications and it's those adaptations.
I guess it's these common processes across industries which should just be the same for everyone.
Exactly. Sometimes I think some of our guys feel like they are, they're going into one organization and they're doing something for them. They're going to another organization, they're doing the same thing. Like, why doesn't that already exist? And I guess for the customer, it would be far easier if things like that already existed for them.
It means they can get into the meaty stuff that gives them the added value, rather than wasting time setting up the finances as every other company. Do you know?
That's
it. It's that kind of thing.
It's simple processes so that they can just get going. Because it's downtime, isn't it? Adding all these modifications and everything to it is downtime.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just takes longer to see that value, the return on the value. So
but I hope to see sort of around it so if you have your out of the box sort of ERP for, I don't know, you're a cake maker, for instance, and it has all your ingredients and everything else, you can do it all very easily. I'd like to see more of progression in the ancillary solution marketplace, I guess. So we have the basics covered, but now we've got some more AI focused elements around these ERP systems that make life a bit more interesting, I guess.
And I think that's definitely a growing edge, in terms of that's definitely where the focus should be, on the exciting fun stuff, as opposed to reinventing the wheel on the basics that everyone's got.
It's interesting. And do you think this is because ERP is more cloud-based now generally, and going to more towards the cloud market?
I know 100%, and that's what's I guess driving it, in terms of you need to be able to update easily on the cloud. I'd love to say it's just the press of the button, which I guess it is in some cases, but generally there's a lot of testing that needs to be done. I think we have to be realistic about it. And the more complex and bespoke your solution is, the harder that testing and everything that goes with it is.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's cool. It'd be interesting where things go, and how how I want to say granular we can get with ERP, and what it can be tailored to. Definitely.
I'll have to revisit this conversation in a couple of years, I reckon.
Yeah.
See how far
I know. It will massively have advanced.
Maybe we were way off.
Yeah. That's it. No, brilliant. I think we should wrap it up there today, because we've been on for an hour again now. We keep saying we'll do 20 minutes and never quite works. I know. Thank you both for today. Thanks, Em, for joining us. And
my pleasure.
We'll put some links in so that people can find you and follow you themselves. And yeah, what have you got on for this week, Steph? You got a busy one, or I've got half term? What are you?
I've got the week off. I am taking my niece and nephew to Legoland on Monday, so that will be
nice.
I just hope the weather's better. So it could be a bit of a long day.
Yeah. Apparently they glue all the Lego pieces down, so nothing will blow away.
Oh, okay. Or rather than swiping it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to the lakes again. I've sort of fallen in love with the lakes this month. So we're going up there for a week.
Very good.
Yeah. So our next podcast will be 2 weeks from now. Please tune in. And yeah, thanks for joining us. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.